to Carissa and Kalia, and to everyone on the panel for joining us this evening, but especially to you all for connecting with us this evening and learning more about Northwestern. So I'll be very brief. Just want to do a quick welcome. So again, welcome to Northwestern Connecticut Community College's first virtual open house. Like you, everyone at the college is dealing with the COVID virus, and we're all staying at home. And so we're getting used to talking to each other through things like WebEx. Our college faculty have done an amazing job of getting all our classes 100% online, and our students have adapted amazingly well. So this has been a crazy spring semester, and I know for those of you who are still in high school, I take my hat off to all of you for finishing your high school career this way. It's not what any of us expected. So I want to bring three reasons why I think attending Northwestern is a smart choice right now. The first one is, and obviously I'm a little biased, but we are the best option to get you started on your college career. Most of our students choose to transfer onto universities, both in Connecticut and all over the country, and sometimes even internationally. And our credits transfer everywhere. And that's a really important point. I just want to make sure everyone understood that in many ways we do transfer. Probably the vast majority of our students do transfer onto other institutions, but you can also just come to us for an associate degree. Every college and university in the country, if not the world, has done what we've done, which is move 100% online. So it seems unlikely that students will be wanting to move back and live in dorms on campus in the fall, given that the virus is likely to be around for a while. So actually staying here and staying local is a great time to consider attending a community college. And the third reason is a very big one. You'll hear more about this tonight, and that is the state of Connecticut has proposed providing free community college to everyone who lives in Connecticut, as long as you attend full time. And with the virus affecting everyone for weeks and months to come, those reasons combined really make us very excited to welcome you and to consider Northwestern as your home starting in the fall. So there's no better way to save money, stay close, and get started with Northwestern. So that's enough for me. I'm going to turn it over now to our Director of Enrollment Management, Kalia Kellogg. So have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
I would just like to welcome you all. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited to connect in the way that we can connect. And we're thinking about you. The class of 2020, you will never be forgotten. I know that there's a lot of struggle you're dealing with right now, and it is our mission every single day to make sure that your college search is not interrupted beyond what has already occurred. So we want to make this easy for you, and we want to work with you. I know sometimes we don't have everything figured out right away either, so we're working on things to help you with the process. We're working as a state system, as all 12 colleges, to make sure that we're coming up with consistent answers for you. And we also just really want to acknowledge, as the president mentioned, community college is an extraordinary option during these times. So we've had some students say, I think I want to stay closer to home in the fall. We're going to talk about the PACT program that should allow many of you to attend college for free, for tuition and debt free. And we offer excellent education that can easily move online. So we're going to introduce you now to some of our students, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see our presentation. But really, we want you to hear from our students. So David Castillo and Aaron Sullivan are students. I think Aaron is going to start us out. And take it away, Aaron.
Thank you. Do you have the PowerPoint up?
I am on the way.
Hi, everyone. My name's Erin. I went to Northwestern High School, and I currently go to Northwestern Community College. And I'm going to share with you my own stories as to why it's the best option for me.
Are you seeing it, Erin?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So the first thing that we're going to talk today is about our academics. The biggest thing that drew me to this school was definitely the flexibility of the school. I worked full-time in high school, and I currently work full-time in college. So that's extremely tough for someone. So making sure that I have flexible choices in order to pick my classes and what time of day they are is so important to me. And that's one thing Northwestern offers that is amazing. I'm currently a liberal arts and science major. I plan on getting my associate's degree in another semester and then transferring to a four-year university. But if this isn't your plan, if you don't want to go to a four-year university, we also offer certification programs here at Northwestern, which is a really great option to have. We offer many different programs. So like I said, I'm liberal arts and sciences, but we have nursing majors, business, vet tech, fine arts, criminal justice, manufacturing. What's amazing too is we also have certification programs, as I mentioned earlier, so that you can get a credential under your belt if anything happens where you don't finish school or if that's just what you're looking for. So I have a credential to fall back on that I got at Northwestern. So I'm a certified security officer. I got that through the school. It was very easy to get, and it was so fun to just learn something new and to have that under my belt. But if you're not interested in something like that, we do have CNA classes, EMT classes, first aid, we also offer three different types of courses: online, on campus, and hybrid. Hybrid is very convenient to have the flexibility of being on campus and working at home at the same time. Currently, due to COVID, we are all online right now, and Northwestern has truly made that transition seamless for me. All of the resources I was able to get on campus, I have completely online. Class times are flexible, so they're not structured as they were on campus opening up at a certain time. So I'm able to do my homework whenever is best, whenever I have the best Wi-Fi, whatever time of day that I deem necessary to do my homework at. So it's really amazing. And we do offer classes for all 4 semesters. There's spring, summer, fall, and winter, which is amazing. So if you only want to take classes in 2 semesters, you can do that by being full-time. Or if you want it to be part-time and you only take a few classes, that's totally fine. It's amazing to have all 4 semesters to get credits out of the way. So I have more credits than I need under my belt because I take classes in the summer and over spring break. So that's really amazing that Northwestern offers that. And it's something that has been very convenient for me as a student. The biggest thing that I can stress to all of you about Northwestern is that all of your professors, all of the faculty, they care about you. They know your name. They don't know you as a number. My classes currently are way smaller than what they were in high school, and I didn't think that that was possible to have such a small college class, but it's so amazing. All of your professors will know your name. They know you. They know your story. They know how to find you help if you need help. We have an academic success center where you get free tutoring, all of the help that you need, counseling, career services, and our ratio is 15-1 for students to teachers. So it's amazing how personalized the education is that you get here at Northwestern. Another great thing is we have a great location. All of our buildings are in very convenient places, so it's easy to walk around campus. And we just got a brand new building right off of the highway. It's a $28 million building that houses our vet tech and health tech programs. This is beautiful. And even though I'm not a health tech major, I do have a few classes in that building. And it's really beautiful. I have a math class in there, so it makes math a little bit more fun. And I'm going to hand it off to David Castillo, who will be talking to all of you about community at Northwestern.
Hi everyone, my name is David Castillo, and I joined Northwestern Community College because it has been giving me the opportunity to be able to stay in within my community and be able to live with my parents a little longer and to save a little bit of more money, and it's provided a lot of opportunities to bond more with my neighbors and my businesses. Students in the Northwestern Community College are are given the opportunity to have the food pantry to access because most students here at the community college are suffering from food insecurity and don't have a lot of money to spend on food. So the campus provides the food pantry for the students to be able to access. And our campus has a mobile food pantry truck, which students are able to volunteered throughout the semester to be able to help out the community and just bond with each other and be able to get themselves out there. Also, the Northwestern Community College has the Entrepreneurial Center, which is available to all students who have a different type of mindset towards not just going towards business. They just want to go through their individual route and just gives them another opportunity to thrive in that area. Our campus has multiple clubs and opportunities for students to be able to reach out to other students in the area who have the same likings of activities and type of sports like clubs. For example, we have Dungeons and Dragons, we have chess club, we have student senate, and I'm actually involved in student senate and another um, club called Team Success, which helps me financially throughout the year and semester. So the Northwestern Community College helps you build up your future. It provides a lot of opportunities, like such as real estate, a lot of certificate programs, as was Aaron was touching up on. I am actually involved in real estate license class. I'm in data science and the business program, and it's very affordable. So this college should be accessible, and debt should not threaten your financial future. Compared to other CT colleges, students can save between 20,000 to 120,000 by enrolling at NCC for the first 2 years. NCC has provided me a lot of um, how could I say? It's been benefiting me in a way where I don't have to risk my financial future and being able to save more money so I could be able to have a more successful future. And CT students who are attending for the first time may qualify for PACT, which is a new program that we will be touching up on later. Last 4 years, Northwestern Community College has been ranked by Wallet Hub. We have been ranked based on affordability, educational outcomes, and career outcomes. Outcomes. More students are considering community colleges because Northwestern transfers usually most likely attend prestigious colleges, including Trinity College, Barnard, Smith, Penn State, and even Yale. We also offer the guaranteed admissions program with UConn. Our graduates enjoy high salary averages. For example, the average yearly salary for our nursing program graduates is up to $70,000.
So David, can you speak a little bit about the opportunities you've had to work with the Connecticut legislators and presenting in Hartford at the Capitol?
Yes. I am involved in the Team Success program, which was able to provide me with the opportunity to go to the legislator, the Capitol, and speak of my life story and represent the community college. And I was very grateful for that.
One thing that I did want to just touch on, thank you, David. I appreciate you. The GAP program, I actually applied for that. Now, I don't even know if I'm going to go to UConn for a 4 year, but that's okay because Northwestern offers it anyways to just apply and get that guaranteed admissions in, which is just so amazing. So if you have any interest in transferring to UConn, definitely make sure to write it down that we have a GAP program for you for guaranteed admissions. So speaking of admissions, stress no longer. We have open admissions here at Northwestern, so we have a place for you. The biggest stress that I had my senior year of high school was I was so overwhelmed with how to apply to schools, where to apply, wondering whether or not I was going to get in. And it's such a stressful time, and we recognize that. But there's no reason to stress here. It was so simple to apply. You can apply right on our website. There's free application. You don't have to pay an $80 fee to apply to your school. And you get in right off the bat. There's a place for you here. There are a few things that we do require when coming in from high school, that you have a high school transcript, diploma or a GED, your proof of immunizations, and a placement test, or your SAT scores. However, due to the current situation with all of our classes being online, we are answering questions and dealing with this as we go. So the cycle might be different for getting in more information if you're unable to due to what's going on currently right now. But it's really easy to apply, and we have such amazing financial aid opportunities here. But the biggest thing that I can stress to anybody on here right now, apply for your FAFSA. It's free. That's the only way you will get student aid or scholarships or anything to do with money in college. Apply for your FAFSA. Just get it done and over with. It's super easy. I did it without the help of parents, which I was super stressed about at first, but it ended up being a very simple process. We offer help if you need it. If you have questions about filling it out, we have financial advisors that will help you. And we will be talking more about the FAFSA later on, so don't stress too much. But I would like to thank all of you for listening to David and I today. If you have any questions, please, please, please comment. We'll be writing them down and answering them as soon as possible. I'm going to hand it back over to Kalia, who will talk to you about our amazing new PACT program.
So just to give a quick introduction, and then we do have some questions for our students that we'll cover before moving on. We are going to talk about PACT next, and we actually are going to help you through the FAFSA process following our conversation about PACT. So we have about 20 minutes for PACT and then 20 minutes for the FAFSA. Just so you know whether this is something you want to stay and participate in, these are the eligibility requirements. So this is for Connecticut high school students, and that does count, it does include GED students in Connecticut and homeschool students. You must be attending college for the first time. However, high school partnership does not make you ineligible. So if you've taken college courses before you graduated from high school, you are still eligible. We're going to talk about the importance of FAFSA. We're going to talk about the importance of going full time. It's a requirement. And everything must be completed by July 15th for priority funding. So we just wanted to touch base on that so you would know whether this is something you want to stay tuned for to hear more about. If you're eligible, right now the legislation does take care of all tuition and fees for all income levels. So we're going to be touching base on all of that in just a few minutes. But first, just to summarize, the takeaway for Northwestern is really this extraordinary affordability. We were always the most affordable option in terms of, in Connecticut, the community college system is the most affordable option for college, but now with PACT, it's possible that it's going to be tuition and fee free, which is extraordinary, especially at this time. We offer flexibility and personalized attention right now through this transition to move all of our classes online and all of our processes online. The fact that we offered flexibility and personalized attention really rose to the surface. We really recognized how capable we were to help our students to continue to do our mission to educate students. And the beauty of all of this is you still have tremendous excellence in education. We have committed faculty that are nationally awarded within their fields, winning major grants, winning excellence in education awards. So you're going to have an excellence in your education. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for a moment. Turn it back to our students. And I know we have a couple questions. So I know one of them was, what is a typical class like? Now, I don't know that we have a typical class, but maybe David and Erin, you can give some input on that.
So like I had mentioned earlier, class sizes are traditionally very small. I had one English class that was only around 8 students, and then my biggest class was probably 20. So that's the range that I've had is 8 to 20. I know my high school class is capped at 22. So it's very personalized and individualized. So the class structure for me was very similar to high school in the ratio from student to teacher, which I thought was amazing because you connect so well with your professors. And if you're struggling, they see and they do whatever they can to help you, which is something that many high schools don't even have. So the fact that our college has, it's amazing. We have great faculty here and really great classroom sizes and atmospheres.
David, anything to add?
Throughout my time at Northwestern, I've been given the like specialized treatment. Like you feel like you're talking one on one every class session, I would say, because the teachers are very focused on your success. So I've been very grateful for that at Northwestern.
Awesome. Another question, and some of these were submitted before the event. So in case you're not seeing them in the chat, just know that some of these questions were emailed to us. Another question was about high school partnership. Did either of you participate in our program to give high school students some pre-college college credit?
Yes, I was in the high school partnership program. So, like I said, I went to Northwestern Regional High School, and it was just by chance that I learned about the high school partnership program. And that really, truly changed my life. I can't stress that enough. So, what it is you apply for classes, and if you do it through the program, you get the college credits for free. So, I was able to get 6 credits under my belt my senior year of high school completely for free. And it was just amazing to familiarize myself with the campus, with Blackboard, which is where we find all of our grades and our assignments on, already knowing how that was as a student and being able to do that before I actually started college. It was amazing. It really leveled down my stress that I was having and anxiety, but I can honestly say it was such an easy transition from high school into college, mainly because I was in that program as well, because I was already familiarized with professors and a lot of people already knew who I was because I was taking those classes. And it's just a really amazing thing that we offer.
Thank you so much. And if you're not a senior, just know that that program is still alive and well. We are figuring out a way for you to apply online. So we just have an inquiry form right now on the high school partnership webpage. And if you tell us you're interested, then we'll be sure to reach out to you when we finalize the process. But students who do high school partnership, they have better success rates. They start their college career at higher levels. So they knock out the early English and math and get to start at a higher level. It's, again, a transition piece that's so important. It's easy to transition from high school to college. So that program is still alive and well. Well, we need to move on to talk about the PACT program, and I see lots of questions about that. So Aaron and David are going to stick around with us. So we're going to talk about PACT for about 15 minutes, take some questions about that, move on to FAFSA, and then we'll open it back up to see if you have any questions for Aaron and David. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you a wonderful colleague, a wonderful advocate for students on our campus, our Dean of Student and Academic Affairs, Dean David Ferreira.
Hi, how's everyone doing tonight? All right. So, as I mentioned, my name is Dr. Dave Ferreira. I'm known around campus as just Dean Dave. So, my office is over in Founders Hall when we are allowed to be back on campus, and so definitely love to make sure that we catch up with everybody. So, what I'm going to be talking to you about is how with that PACT program, how is it that we go ahead and remain eligible for PACT, and but definitely go ahead and get up started and guide me along as we get through.
Awesome. So I'm going to take you through the eligibility piece, and then Dean Dave is going to talk about the ways that it's important for you to maintain that eligibility. So everyone can see my screen, yes? My fellow panelists? Excellent. So this is legislation that was just introduced this past year. It's called a last dollar program, which means that students must accept all other forms of financial aid. That does not include loan, but grant money. And they do have to apply for financial aid. But as the legislation stands right now, the state government will then cover the tuition and fees if you attend a community college. There are some eligibility requirements that go along with it. Very important for you to understand. So moving on. So David mentioned when we were talking, we have two Davids, Dean Dave and David, our student. So when David, our student, was talking about essentially sticker price, how much can you save? It's profound, and it has an effect on your future. I just finished paying off my student loans and I am pretty old. So it can take a while to pay off those student loans. So compared to the least expensive other option, this is per year, 11,000 per year. And then we can approach about 60,000 per year for one of the more expensive options in Connecticut. So this program, the PACT program, is allowing students to truly have accessibility to access to college career. So who's eligible is the most important piece we want to cover tonight. It has to be in-state residents. You must be a resident of Connecticut. You can graduate from any kind of institution in Connecticut, public, private. You can be homeschooled, or if you get your GED in Connecticut, you're eligible. The most critical piece, and the reason we have FAFSA following us, is because you must do the free application for federal student aid. And I don't know who this was, but somebody put in a question. She said, how do I fill out my FAFSA? And then she corrected herself and said, FAFSA, you made my day. Whoever that was, you made my day. So in case you want to just make my day every day, it's the FAFSA. Kind of a funny thing to say, but it is the free application for federal student aid. You must do this to be PACT eligible. So a lot of students were saying, how do I apply to PACT? Well, if you fill out the FAFSA, if you apply to the college, if you complete the application process as we guide you through it, and you complete the FAFSA, if you register for full-time credits, you are eligible for the PACT. You do not have to fill out a separate PACT application. We are working on a form that might help us because this online environment is a little interesting right now. So we might ask you to fill out a form that just says, you know, attest to the fact that you think you are eligible to this. But really, if you do your FAFSA and you do your application process, that is applying to be part of the PACT. You have to be a degree-seeking student. You can't be a non-degree-seeking student or what we call a visiting student. It will cover up to 3 years of education. It's really extraordinary. So I know if there's parents out there, you're probably very encouraged to hear that students can complete all of their prerequisite courses. They can complete up to 3 years. A lot of colleges, four-year colleges, if you're interested in transferring, will ask you to do 2 years there. So 3 years might not be the right amount of time for you, but PACT does cover up to that amount. You have to be enrolled, completed with your application, completed with your financial aid, and there's a little piece that they're going to talk about today called verification. If you're flagged for verification, you have to give the government a little more information. That all must be completed before you're enrolled, and you must be enrolled by July 15th. Have priority funding. I'm going to guess that with everything that's happening in our state, priority funding is where you want to sit. After July 15th, if you finish everything after July 15th, we will consider you for PACT funding, but the funding might be gone. I think that's probably a good bet. So we are all here working hard to make sure that you can finish the process by July 15th. I will tell you that we want this to be a clean process for you. So the enrollment piece, the registering for classes, is not going live for new students until May. But that is because we don't want to send you in one direction and then change the process on you. We're looking at things like placement because we can't have you come to campus and take placement tests. So we're all working very hard as a state system to make sure that we have the right process for you so that when May hits, we can get you processed. But right now, you can be filling out your FAFSA for sure. You must stay enrolled. So you can't take a break, except for some exceptions, which Dean Dave will tell you about, but you must maintain good academic standing and stay full-time. So the PACT legislation is meant to inspire behavior that will get you through college and get you onto your career. You also have to be a first-time college student. You cannot have taken college courses at another college. However, high school partnership is an exception. And any college credit that you attempted while you were in high school is an exception. So we do want you to be in those high school partnership programs. You're still eligible for PACT. I think, yes, I'm going to turn this over to Dean Dave.
Okay, so a couple of things I do want to touch on. Actually, I saw a question came on there about, do I need to be full-time, each semester? And the answer to this one is yes. And I'll go over a couple of the exceptions. And as Kalia mentioned, so you do want to be at least, and way we define it, full-time is at least 12 credits in the fall and in the spring semester. Summer semester, is not, not considered for this one. The PACT funding is just for the fall and spring semesters. Okay. But so you want to make sure you maintain at least 12 credits during those periods of time, and for each semester while you're here. And also you want to maintain good academic progress. So that means you want to have your GPA, just in general, I'll speak to it, is that you want to maintain your GPA of at least a C average or higher. Please be higher, to give yourself some cushion room. So those are some things that you kind of mentioned that you want to do. Also, likewise, um, if you're enrolled in just the 12 credits, you also want to be cautious about not withdrawing from any classes. Okay, you want to continue to work at it and do well, because you need to go through at least those 12 credits a semester. So in general, people ask, well, if I'm at full time, how many hours a week is that, and how much time should I commit to maintaining that standard academic progress? And I said a good rule of thumb for students is that for every hour in college that you're inside the classroom, you could probably figure about 2 hours of work outside the classroom. And I think actually Aaron and David could probably, back that up. So if you are enrolled for, let's say, 15 credits, which is 5 classes, because if you do want to finish in 2 years, about 60 credits, that's, 15 credits in the fall and spring for 2 years. So if you're enrolled in 15 credits, that's 15 hours inside the classroom each week, and then at least 2 hours outside the classroom for each one. So that's about 45 hours worth of work, right? So that's why they call it full time, because it is basically like a full time job. So what we do say for folks that are registered full time is, I know a lot of people do have to work. Erin mentioned that she has to work a lot of hours. In general, if you work about, a lot of our students work about 20, 25 hours a week, depending on your life situation, that, students can work about full time and work about 20, 25 hours a week. Beyond that, there are some superstars that can do it. I know Erin could probably do it because she's a superstar. But it is sometimes gets pretty tough. It depends on your life commitments. But if you are, working 20 hours over at Stop and Shop going full time, a lot of folks can kind of handle that. So there are a couple exceptions where you may not have to be, full time. One of them is if you do have a documented disability. And I say may because I got to make sure we cover all of our bases. So I'll give an example. If you're a person who, let's say, has a high level of anxiety, and going full time may not be the best bet for you, you can work with our accommodations coordinator, Deneen Huddart, and she can, go over that process and determine if you may have a lower threshold to maintain eligibility for PACT. So make sure that if you did, let's say you had an IEP in high school or something like that, definitely make sure you disclose that to us. There are a couple exceptions as well that where if, let's say, in the fall semester, unfortunately you have a medical emergency, let's say, there's a car accident, or you get sick for an extended period of time, and that caused you to where you weren't able to complete the semester, there may be an ability to do that. If you are in the military and then you are deployed for a period of time, we actually have a couple of students right now that are in the National Guard that got deployed for the National Guard. Those are exceptions that can be made there. Also, in selective admissions, if you do want to be a nurse, our first semester, I believe you can't be at the full 12 credits for that first semester. So there are exceptions there. And then also in the final term, where if just to finish up your associate's degree, you just have just 9 credits to go to finish up, because the way that you stacked your classes, you'll be eligible to maintain that eligibility for PACT in that final semester. Okay, we'll go on. So as I said, goals really, we want to, mitigate, debt. As I said, I love my kids. I want to make sure that they graduate with little to no debt as possible, because if you have no debt when you graduate and then you get that job making good money, you can move out of your parents' house and not be in the basement, and you can get a nicer car and all those things. That's what I want for my kids, and so that they can go ahead and live a good life. So that's what we want to do, is mitigate the debt, support completion and retention. Our studies show that if you come here full time and you chug away at it, you're going to be much more likely to go ahead and complete. So with that, again, we cover tuition and fees for PACT. It does not cover books, although we do a lot of work with our faculty, where if they have a class that's tagged as hashtag NOLO, those classes have course materials that are $40 or less. So we are very cognizant of that, and a lot of our faculty try to, as much as they can, pick course materials that's NOLO. And so with that, and then also, if you are a student who currently would be eligible for full Pell, that means you would have been able to get college for free even in the past. There is an extra $250 for you in this one. So as I said, we look forward to seeing you. I said, just like what Aaron and David said, this is a special place. Our faculty know your names. They know your stories. My door is always open for you. I always like to come on in. So make sure you fill out that FAFSA. Make sure you apply. And we look forward to seeing everyone in the fall. And I said, congratulations on actually finishing up in 2020 for those that are graduating. And we look forward to hopefully welcoming you physically on campus in the fall semester.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Boy, I don't think we've ever been as excited to go back to work and school. You might feel the same. So I know there's been a lot of questions about PACT. So Dave, why don't you address the one about, do you need to stay full-time through all the years?
Yeah, as I said, you do need to stay full-time for fall and for spring. If you do, you can definitely take classes in the summer, and it's another way to kind of keep moving forward. Again, PACT doesn't cover some summer classes. However, there are some students who may be eligible for Pell that may get some courses covered by Pell. That's a federal program for some summer classes, and our financial aid staff would let you know individually if you're a person who would qualify for that. But for the fall and the spring, unless you have one of those exceptions, do plan to register for at least 12 credits for fall and spring, and then plan accordingly with your work schedule and your commitment in order to maintain eligibility for PACT.
Great. Just looking to see if we have others. I think there are.
There was one really great question that came up. With PACT for scholarships that are received, can those funds be used for college expenses such as books, laptops, and travel expenses?
Great question. Yeah, there are. Depends on your financial aid package, and Khalid, you might be able to speak on this one too. But there are some financial aid packages that do have some vouchers for you to help with some expenses. And again, as I mentioned, if you are also where you would have been eligible for maximum Pell eligibility, which would have covered it anyways, there's an extra a little bit of money there for you. Also, and I will kind of mention that there's always scholarships as well that are available that could actually help, that are not so much scholarship that go towards your calculations, but as in checks that they get to you in the forms of scholarships. So those are some things that you can take a look at and are available to help with mitigation of some of those extra expenses, because we do understand that tuition and fees are not the only expense, right? You got to put gas in your car. If you're coming in through your car, you got to make sure that you eat. You got to make sure that you cover those books. So, and the college also has some resources for you if you run into any type of bind to help out with those types of expenses.
So we have a lot of questions about when people will learn if they're PACT eligible or if that went through, and that's a very good question. Right now, we are working to make sure that, again, there's a consistent answer and a consistent process. So our understanding at this point is that your award letter for financial aid will include that information as well. Do know, and this is so critical right now, we're going to work at trying to get this out to all applicants. We ask you to set up an account through our online portal once you become an applicant. So you apply to the college, we send you an email that says, here are your next steps. That page is like your home base forever. Do your next steps. And one of them is set up your online MyComNet account. Usually financial aid can print out letters and send them to your home. Right now we can't. So the only place that you will learn about your financial aid award is through that MyComNet email. It's a student email, and you're going to need to get used to using and checking that student email as soon as possible. Because of your privacy, we are not allowed to send you any financial information to a random email. We have to set up the email for you. So I think that's something that we really need students to understand, that once you set up your MyComNet email, you need to check it. Your financial aid is part of that. So I'm going to transition to financial aid. I know we have more packed questions as well. We have some information here on the screen, but we also are going to hopefully answer more of your questions after we talk about FAFSA. So Dan, I will just let you know that one of the FAFSA questions is one I've never heard before, and that is, we have twins. Do we need to fill out the FAFSA twice? So I love that question. I'm going to put that in front of you, and I'm going to bring up your presentation. So my colleague, Dan Roberts, our financial aid expert, is going to take it from here, and I will share your presentation, Dan.
Great. Thank you, Clea. My name is Daniel Roberts. I am the Enrollment Management Specialist in the Financial Aid Office, and I am the one that you will be, well, one of the individuals that you'll be talking with regarding FAFSA questions or help and how the financial aid process works. So I'm going to briefly describe the process of what the FAFSA is and how you go about completing that. Quickly, to answer the students' questions about the twins, yes, unfortunately, you both have to do your own FAFSA with your own unique information, and both parents have to sign both of those. So unfortunately, it's a tedious process, but it's the federal government that requires that, so you will have to both do that. So the gateway to all financial aid, that's PACT, federal Pell Grant, and any other funds that we offer is the FAFSA, which, as Kalia mentioned earlier, stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. There's another application that we offer that is a paper application, the ACTIS, which is the aid application for Connecticut undocumented students. Due to the fact that that is a paper application, we are working with our system office in Hartford on how we're going to go about processing those while we're working remotely, as it contains a lot of highly confidential information for students. So again, as Clea mentioned, we can't have students emailing that. So that's a work in progress. I'd encourage you to stay tuned on that, pay attention to your student emails, and we will have more information on that as soon as we can. Okay, so as I mentioned before, when you're submitting the FAFSA, that's the application for all different types of financial aid. You should be able to see on your screens, we have listed a multitude of different aid sources that you'd be applying for. Some of them are federal sources, some of them are state sources, and we have money that the college itself offers, including the Northwestern grant. So that's institutional aid. The scholarship is a state fund as well. So when you do the FAFSA, you're essentially applying for all of these. If you're not eligible for PACT, you may be eligible for some of these other funds. So it's highly critical that you do your FAFSA regardless, whether you think you're going to be eligible for something or not. When you submit your FAFSA, all the data that you report goes into a calculation. So the college does not do the calculation, but the federal U.S. Department of Education will calculate what's called your expected family contribution, or EFC. The EFC is a number, and it range, okay? So the lower that number is, the higher the amount of aid that you could be eligible for. So anyone that has an EFC range 0 to 5,711 is eligible for the federal Pell Grant. 5,700 and above is either other types of aid or loans and that sort of thing, or PACT. So that's just basic a rundown. When you do your FAFSA, the government will do a calculation. The financial aid office at Northwestern will evaluate your FAFSA based on the data that you and the Department of Education calculate, and then we create an award package that's appropriate for you based on your eligibility. Okay, so does household income disqualify my aid eligibility? No, not necessarily. There's other factors that go into it aside from just how much money you or your parents make. Household size and number in the household attending college at one time significantly increase or contribute to your eligibility. So let's say, for example, had students say that, well, my parents make over 100,000, I'm not going to be eligible. And then they may say, well, I have 6 people in the household and 2 or 3 of them are going to college. That's going to bump up your eligibility, making you potentially eligible for aid when initially you weren't certain that you were. So again, I always emphasize to students, it's really critically important that you do the FAFSA anyway. This is going back to what Kalia mentioned earlier. What is financial aid verification? So approximately 50% of all FAFSA applications nationwide in the entire country will be selected for verification by the U.S. Department of Education. What that means is that students that are selected for verification may have to provide the college or this other organization that we Northwestern are partnered with, Inceptia. You may have to provide us or Inceptia a documentation that verifies the information you initially reported in your FAFSA. Once verification is complete, then an award package could be determined for you. This is also really critically important if you're anticipating eligibility for PACT and you get selected for verification. You have to complete that whole process by July 15th in order to be eligible. So with the introduction of PACT, we are anticipating an increase in anticipated Pell access to students. As I mentioned earlier, some students who didn't think they were eligible are likely going to be doing the FAFSA now. This is going to be a requirement for PACT. So it's a last dollar fund, and what that means is that all other sources of aid must be exhausted first. That includes Pell Grants, state aid, and institutional aid. So what we're going to do when we get your FAFSA is we're going to see if you're eligible for any of the aid first, and then if not, then the PACT fund will be considered for you. Just on the screen are a couple of deadlines as they pertain to the different fund sources. So depending on, you know, what your eligibility may be, there's different deadlines. Regardless, I would highly encourage you to do your FAFSA sooner rather than later. Okay, so that's a basic summary of the financial aid process. So myself and other colleagues that work in the financial aid office are here and available. We are working remotely. We are answering emails during our regularly scheduled office hours, which is Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. And during this time, it is highly critical that you're all checking your student emails and your MyComNet accounts for your financial aid information, as we are not able to send you paper notifications at this time. So Kalia, I think I've gone over everything, so I'll transition back to you, and I'm happy to answer any questions as they come about.
Great. I'm just looking to see if there are different financial aid questions.
There are a lot of questions about the FAFSA, people having issues or it not working, and where they should go once they're done filing for the FAFSA once they've applied. I'm scrolling through now to see if there's any more FAFSA questions, and I will.
So someone writes, my FAFSA is completed. I believe I listed Northwestern on it. What should I do next? The website said to email admissions if I haven't indicated interest. Does listing Northwestern on the FAFSA count as indicating interest? I wonder if you're asking about PACT. So there's two things you need to do, two applications you need to do. One is the PACT, excuse me, not the PACT application. You need to do the application to the college for admissions. And you need to do the FAFSA application. Someone asked, how do we partner the two? Well, that is the dazzling excitement behind our database. So if you do the FAFSA and you haven't applied for the college, we're not going to be urging you to do more. You need to apply to the college. If you apply to the college and you don't do your FAFSA, you will not be PACT eligible. So there's two things you're responsible for: applying to the FAFSA, applying to the college. Once you do that, we're going to help you through the process to match you to PACT. We are still trying to figure out exactly if we need you to fill out a form, which I think we probably will, but we're trying to just make sure that all community colleges are consistent. Someone did have a question about taking courses at another community college. As long as you have a home base, that's a community college where you are considered a full-time degree-seeking student, you can take courses at another community college and still be PACT eligible, if it's a Connecticut community college. So we're all part of the same 12 college system. We are all working with a PACT program. So, not to put a big wrinkle into all of this, but this is legislation. I think the governor did come out at some point and say that he would like to propose some changes. Those changes have to be voted on, have to be put into new legislation. That has not happened. We are crossing our fingers it will not happen. We are hoping the legislators of our state recognize that if there's ever a time to make it easy for families to go to college, it's now. So we've been told to process our applications and our financial aid with the understanding that the legislation is moving forward as it is. We cannot control whether the legislators come together and make some changes, but we don't have a reason to believe that's going to happen at this point. But that is the big caveat. That's the big warning. So write to your legislators and tell them don't mess with PACT. It's really critical at this point. I loved a question. Somebody said, well, what's different about Northwestern than another community college, say Tunxus? Like, what if we're all online in the fall? Why would we choose Northwestern? I think I saw that one of our students answered it, but I would just invite you to give your perspective to everyone.
So I think I was the one that answered that question, and I put it very simply, but I would love to elaborate were you able to hear me? Northwestern just has the greatest sense of community and care compared to any other college that I have toured or visited. And I think that because we're so small, we're very personalized, and everybody there cares about your success. And that's something that it's very hard to come by, and it's just a very welcoming atmosphere. And you feel like you definitely belong there. That's the biggest thing that makes it different.
You know, I've worked at small community colleges. I've worked at large state universities. Finding the right college for you is really about finding the right fit. Absolutely. I can tell you that the small college experience has really impressed me, and especially at this time with this semester, watching our whole community come together to make sure our students are weathering this time. We have a town hall once a week. And professors, as well as staff, as well as our president, will come together and say, how's everybody doing? What are you hearing from students? And we come up with creative ways to be supportive to our students. So one of the things we've done is to work with our local grocery store and fund grocery cards and ask the students, if you have food insecurity, we have grocery cards for you. Please let us know. And that came together with lightning speed. So we're going to take care of you. We want you to come to Northwestern to be a part of our community. And this is a time when I think we're feeling our community more than ever. It really is an exceptional community. It also is recognized over and over. We were the only college who had enrollment growth, in the only community college in Connecticut that had enrollment growth over the past year. So we are recognized as a community college that is serving its students. So somebody else might be doing a better job of tracking the chat. Any other questions?
I have a lot that I wrote down. Some of them we
Love
don't
it.
have a specific answer for. Do you want me to generalize them for you so you have a feel of what's out there, or just give you a few?
Give us a few questions. Awesome.
All right, so one thing that was really awesome, if your parents do not meet the EFC, is there any other aid that you can access? So just off the top of my head, I would think of our Greenwood scholarships or Northwestern scholarships and any other scholarships you can get just by applying for the FAFSA, but I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think if you are not eligible for PAC, so say you've taken other college courses and you're coming back to college, then those are concerns that you need to consider. And yes, you can apply for some scholarship. Again, it's the least expensive college option that we have in the state. So you're not going to go into decades of debt, even if you're paying full price. However, if you're eligible for PACT, know that it right now is not income dependent. It is not, you are not eligible in consideration of your income. Every income is eligible for PACT.
Yes, and this is Dan again. So if your EFC does not meet the Pell threshold, as I was mentioning earlier, we have other types of aid of PACT. So there's a variety of options for our students. So it's something to definitely consider.
Awesome. I see a question, and we're running out of time. I see a question, and I'm going to try and stay and write answers if there aren't answers written to them. But again, you can always write to admissions with an S, admissions@nwcc.edu. Dan, do you want to give your financial aid email?
Sure. So it is capital N, capital W, hyphen, capital F, lowercase n, capital A, lowercase I, lowercase d, at nwcc.edu.
So NW/fine aid. Yes? Okay. So you can certainly send us questions there, but I see one more that's really important. What date in May can new students register? We're hoping it's going to be that first Monday. We just don't know right now. Because we all offered placement tests, we're talking at a state level about how do we place students. We don't want to make SAT required. You don't want that either, I bet. We don't want to cut off SAT score. If you have SATs, if you have a 460 in language, if you have a 510 or better in math, please send us the score reports. It must be the score report. It can be unofficial, but it has to have your name and the test date on it. That can help you with placement. But we are coming up with options so that students who don't have the minimum SAT scores also can be placed in classes. So we want to make sure everybody has open access to the classes. You can look right now to see what classes are available, but soon we'll be sending lists to our advisors, and I think they'll be reaching out to you to say, hey, you look like you're ready to register. We're asking for immunizations. We hope you will provide us with immunizations. That's a requirement from the state. If you truly cannot get record of your immunizations, write us to the admissions@nwcc.edu. So I think that's the last question I can answer online like this, because we have some great events that are starting right now. So we hope that you all will either be hopping on to learn about our student activities, which I think is so critical because people don't consider that community colleges might have as vibrant community activities and groups as maybe residential colleges do, but we really do. We have some exceptional, we have an exceptional activities director, and he's going to be giving the presentation. So we hope that you'll sign into that event. And the other is the Team Success Scholars. It's an extraordinary program. David and Aaron are part of that. They are exceptional. It is a cohort of students that goes through their education together. It's it's just unbelievable. If I had known something like that existed, I absolutely would have applied for that as well. So please feel free to hop off here and go join those two programs. And then there's wonderful presentations the rest of the week where you get to sit like this with faculty, get to know your faculty, ask your questions about the program. I'm so thrilled you came to join us tonight. I know we can't necessarily see your faces, but it just means the world to us that you are still engaged with this process. It's wonderful to know parents and students are ready to have these conversations. So I'm going to stay behind and see if I can answer more comments in the chat. But I know we all send you our very best wishes. We have a great admiration and concern for your senior year. We're thinking about you, and we hope we get to actually meet you in person in the fall.
Take care.
Kalia. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
So Miss Erin,
Yes.
you and I are David. You and I are still here. I don't think we have to quit necessarily. Are there any, but I know people might still be. We have 20 people still. And I don't mean to continue with the presentation necessarily, but I'm just checking to see if there's any questions that you notice that you'd like me to respond to before we end this event.
Yes, there were actually a lot still left unanswered, but a lot of them are really difficult ones to answer about PACT and the specifics.
Okay.
So one question that I got is when you register or when you apply, when do you get verification for PACT or for FAFSA? And then another question was, when exactly do you learn that you get in, and then what do you do from there? So again, it's probably tough to answer as we don't have too much information about PACT currently, but I'll let you take that away.
In terms of application, thank you so much for noting these questions. If you apply, we are trying to process those every 24 hours. So if you apply, you should get something within a day or a couple of days. Sometimes it takes a day to process, and then the next morning we run our automated responses. So just check your email, please, please, oh please, because that's our way to communicate with you now. So we're going to send you an email that says, here are your next steps. And that next steps link is a hidden website. You will get it once you're admitted. Every student is admitted. If you apply, you're admitted. I'm sorry to take all the glamour of opening up a piece of mail that says you've been admitted, but we're also taking away all the stress of wondering. It's open admissions, you'll be admitted. So once we process your application, we'll send you that email. Pay attention to the link that says, here's your next steps. We're going to update that website with any information we have. So because it's a website, it's just like one-stop shopping. We're going to keep that website updated. When we know more about placement, we're going to update it. When we open up advising for new students, we're going to update that as well. So you should know pretty soon. In terms of PACT, when your financial aid award is completed, Dan, were we talking about this today? You said you feel like the PACT information is going to be part of that award letter that will go into the MyComNet portal?
So you were asking about how does verification play into PACT and FAFSA?
Yeah, so how will you know exactly when you're verified for both?
So the student will know that they were selected for verification within a day or two submitting their FAFSA. The Department of Ed will send them an email and let them know whether or not they were selected. When we get the FAFSA at Northwestern, then we'll know immediately if they were selected. So if they're selected, then Inceptia is going to communicate with them and us as well. We're both going to communicate that to them, and then they need to complete verification by July 15th to qualify for PACT. So verification is strictly with the FAFSA. It doesn't have anything to do with PACT itself. It's just their FAFSA needs to be verified by July 15th to qualify.
And just to be very clear, thank you so much for that answer, Dan. Verification is something that happens from the federal government that's asking you for more documentation than you provided in the FAFSA. We're not using verification as a general term. And I think I was answering, considering it a general term. So in terms of when are you confirmed for being PACT eligible, that's a very different question than when will you know if you've been picked for financial aid verification.
Right. So when you're selected for verification, you won't know what fund you're getting until you complete that. So PACT, whatever, verification has to be completed first before the award notification will go out. And I'm sorry, I meant to answer your other question, Kalia. Yes, the award information, whatever fund it may be, PACT included, should be included on the award letter.
Awesome.
I do have a generalized question for you, Kalia.
Yeah.
So two different questions that were really awesome. So someone came in a little late. They were wondering if they're able to view the presentation. And I had mentioned that we did record it to see if we could send it along for later viewing. And then someone wanted to know if they could get a PDF copy of the PowerPoint. And I said that I would ask their question to you.
Nice. Sure, I think we could do both of those things. So we do have the recording. We don't know what it looks like to share a recording yet. So if it's a big old file that is going to clog up your email, we probably won't send it out. But I think we're going to try and post it on our website. I do have a PDF of the presentation. It's, again, one of these online things. So I think if I send it to you, oh, I have a PDF. So I can send the PDF or the link to the presentation. We'll try and figure out the best way to do that.
Okay.
But I think we can make those things available to you. We also want to do this once a week, or maybe every other week, to just talk about these general things. Not all the 16 events we have this week with all the different faculty, but we do want to just have these general things maybe once a week for you all. And if you're still in the chat, I think we have just a very few people. Would it need to be in the evening, or if we offered it during the day, would that also work? We're really curious. We think you're all working hard at your high school classes, but if you are available during the day, that's good to know too.
I think that I have to head over to the TSS meeting, but I did have two more questions to put out there. They were also kind of generalized when to register for fall and for summer. And I said for fall, keep an eye on our website because I'm not sure if dates have been specified yet for that. And then for summer classes, I'm not sure because I know as a continuing student, I'm able to currently.
Right.
Sure if you want to
Yeah, it's registration for everything for new students is starting in May. I just want to warn you, if you are a new student, you're eligible for PACT, you don't want to be registering for summer courses. That is considered a college course for the fall when PACT begins. You'll make yourself ineligible. So you really need to adhere to just registering for that fall semester. You know you're not PACT eligible and you want to start in the fall, you're most welcome. But if you're new, not a continuing student with us, but new, either a new transfer or a new first-time student, you can start that in early May.
All right, I'm going to sign off and head over to the TSS. Thank you guys for all your questions. Thank you, Kalia and Dan, for being so awesome.
You guys are fantastic. So glad students can help us out. So I think I'm probably going to end this meeting. I'm just trying to scan the chat really quickly to see if anything else is there. Looks like Erin did a great job of answering everybody. And we have very few.
Erin is amazing, isn't she?
Amazing. Well, let's see. Looking for answers to whether students can do during the day. We're getting lots of thank yous. You guys are most welcome. We're dwindling down to the last 4. So we will release you last 4. I hope you'll join our other events this week. It was lovely to talk with you. It's as close to having a party as we get to be these days. So thank you everybody.